ladies and gentlemen, Nikki Sixx.
I think we're going to do some photos first. Oh, alright. Standing here, some photos, and then after a minute we'll start doing some questions.
So nice. It looks so beautiful.
Okay.
Nikki, could you tell us about the forthcoming album and the book, the Heroin Diaries, please?
Yeah, I found the diaries a few years ago in a storage unit in Los Angeles. I've been keeping diaries since maybe 1978. I write pretty diligently every day, and during the height of my drug addiction, I think I wrote even more than I do now. There's a part of me that I had isolated myself so much from everybody, the band, my friends, that it became sort of like a friend to me, and I was writing all the time in it, and I was writing about the fact that I couldn't get off the drugs, or that I didn't want to get off the drugs, or I did want to get off the drugs, and everything else that was happening in between, like picking out a jet for a tour, and then, you know, threatening to break the band up because they wouldn't paint it black. I mean, fucking ironic shit, where you just go, what an asshole. And as I was going through these and realizing how deep I got into the addiction, including writing after I actually had a drug overdose and died from it, and then went back and shot up the very same night and wrote about that, and then actually deciding on Christmas morning, a year later from when I was shooting up in front of the same Christmas tree that had never been taken down, to quit, and I quit cold turkey. And I decided I wanted to publish that, and that was, for me, it was only part of the story, because that was telling my side of the story. So I talked to the guys in the band, ex-record company people, ex-managers, a lot of exes, ex-girlfriends, and said, what was it like for you? And then they went in and said, you know, you were a fucking dictator, you were an asshole, or you were sweet, you were lovely, we were scared, we were mad at you, we were not mad at you, whatever they wanted to say, including my mother, my grandparents, people that were watching this person die. And then I felt we still weren't quite there, and I got to tell my side of the story. And then once we got that, I gave those transcripts to a guy named DJ Ashba and a guy named James Michael, and they read it and they said, we have to score an album for this. And so we actually wrote a double album. It goes anywhere from Danny Elfman-esque 80 string orchestra things to Bob Dylan-esque intimate moments where it's a singer-songwriter, to rock tracks. And we honed it down to 13 songs, and there's 13 chapters. And the missing element for me was, now what do I do with this? And I figured if I could get enough people's attention, I have a charity for runaway kids, which is what I was. I ran away from home when I was 13 years old. I could get the money from everybody and I could give it to the charity and we could help the kids. So that's sort of the whole thing in a nutshell for me.
Thank you very much, Nikki.
Yeah.
Question.
Hi, Paul Radio 1.
Hey.
How important is it for Motley Crue to be on Download 2007 as a band for you guys?
You know, we always like playing here. It's a good time. I like the tent that we're playing this year. I like all the bands that are out. We're excited. I mean, we love to play live. This is probably, there's only 2 more shows for us, and we won't be playing again until sometime next year, maybe '09, depending on how it goes on making a record.
Gil from Metal Hammer. There's always a certain amount of stuff that's weeded out through legal with biographies and autobiographies. Are there any sort of tidbits in there that we don't get to hear in the book that you can tell us now?
No, I'm definitely getting sued.
Really? All right, well, if you can't answer that, can you answer this? Why 6 AM? Why not Motley Crue for the soundtrack?
It's not a Motley Crue project. It's a very personal project. It's something that I did with 2 other guys, that we are producers and songwriters, and we wanted to open the scope up. We didn't want to have to deal with, well, why did Motley Crue do an orchestra? Or why did Motley Crue do this intimate, creepy Sisters of Mercy track? It doesn't sound like Motley Crue. So now, with it being a separate identity, no one can say that. They can either appreciate the music, they can like the music, or not like the music. And I think that's a healthier place for the music to be.
Hi, Nikki. Chance from Dell's Record. Down there.
Hey.
The Heroin Diaries, has that been therapeutic for you, writing all that and getting it all out in the open?
I haven't done heroin in 20 years, but there was a part of me, I think, a little hinge in there that it opened up something inside of me. I think it made me even more grateful for all the great things that I get to do. I've never been a guy that wants to, as I call a lot of guys that don't do drugs and alcohol, sobo cops. And they're a bit of a fucking drag to be around. And a lot of my friends, they drink. I'm a designated driver half the time. They're throwing up in my car and shit. And I don't care. I just do what I want to do in my life. I've always made music like that, done what I wanted to do in my life. And I think it reinforces that for me, that you can be an artist, you can do anything you want to do. I do a lot of different stuff, a lot of different kinds of music. I do photography, I paint, I have a clothing line, I design clothing. I'm in Motley Crue, I do this project, I write books, I'm starting a novel right now. And as an artist, as just a guy who grew up as a kid loving all these bands like Motley Crue and Sweet and Slade, I just want to do what I want to do as an artist, and I think it reinforced that you don't have to be, in my case, fucked up to do it. You know, if you want to be fucked up and do it, that's cool too, I endorse that.
Anyone else got a question?
Yeah.
Music seems to change a lot since Motley Crue first started out. Where do you guys fit in these days?
Maybe we don't.
Do you like not being in there?
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
I think we're done. Any more? Any more? One more.
One more?
Last one.
Hi, I'm Stuart Ball from Nick Library. Welcome to the UK.
Thank you.
I'd just like to ask you, there seems to be so many questions asked about the controversial side of your life. Do you think this overshadows the fact that you're a bass player, musician and songwriter, etc.?
That's been a problem for the band from the get-go. We have an honesty problem. The fact is that we're overly honest and we overshare, and we have since the beginning. I don't think you can take that away from the band. We've admitted from the get-go what we do, and when we wrote The Dirt, it was pretty honest and telling, and I think it was a bit like Animal House, the movie. We celebrated everything that we did, and there's the ups and the downs that come with it. I think the Heroin Diaries gives a little bit different perspective on that. It's a one-on-one perspective, and then other people's perspective of what it was like to watch that. But if I'm expecting artistic credibility for something, if that's my expectation, I'm probably, overshadowing what I should be doing. I think what I should really be focusing on is, if one kid out there like me is going to read this book and go, you know what, that guy is some kid that grew up in Idaho on a farm, and he made it all the way to England to be playing his music for people, and he's not doing drugs now, he's sober, and he's still, I think I still kind of can hold my own, then maybe that's the expectation, and I shouldn't worry about getting artistic credibility. I think I feel pretty good about what I do as an artist.
Thank you.
Sure, man.